much for having me, and good morning, everyone. Much thanks to Navi and Hawaii for allowing us the opportunity to share about a very important topic, Kupuna care options that are available. As you all know, there are many options available, and so I really enjoy the opportunity this morning to share with you some information that hopefully will be helpful to you, either to you or your loved one or a family member or a friend if you're looking for those options. Just a little bit about the Arcadia family of companies. We are an organization that was founded back in 1967, so we are now 55 years old. And our flagship is known as Arcadia Retirement Residence, which is located on Punahou Street. But about 20 years ago, we diversified into other lines of senior services. So we also offer adult daycare and day health services, Arcadia home care and home health services, as well as 2 life plan communities, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and also a life plan community without walls. So I've been with the organization a little over 20 years, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. So we will go ahead and dive in. And so it's always nice to test your knowledge on where you are at with what's out there, what's the most common service that's available, and what does it cost. So Debbie's going to help us out here with some polls. First one, so the first question is, and Debbie, I'm not sure if I think you're going to put up a poll. The question is, most people who need long-term care live in their own home or the home of a family member, a nursing home, an assisted living residence, or none of the above. So if you can, take a guess, and we'll see what the answer is in just a minute.
We'll give another 10 seconds to complete this poll. Okay, let me share the results.
Okay, we've got some good folks on the line here today. This is great. So most people who need long-term care or some type of assistance, most of them live in, yes, their own home or the home of a family member. Especially true in Hawaii because we are a culture that usually takes care of its own, and we have many multi-generational families and households that live in our state, in our communities. I also want to give a quick example that a couple years ago, the Honolulu Star Advertiser also published a study that when they looked at the number of unpaid caregiver hours that are provided in our state in Hawaii alone, it totaled and equated to over $1 billion a year. So families taking care of their own family members is definitely a needed service that our community provides. Okay, next question, Debbie. We will move to the next one. So the next question is, this is focused around just nursing home care. So how much does it cost to stay in a semi-private room in a nursing home if you had to pay the entire cost yourself? And let's go, this is going to be based on the national average, not the Hawaii average, or I'm sorry, this is going to be based on the whole, I've got 2 different ones.
I'm sorry.
It's Hawaii. Okay. Let's go with Hawaii average. So this is based on the Hawaii average, not the national average. Hawaii average. Go ahead, everyone.
I'll give another 5 seconds before I end this poll. Okay. Share results.
Okay, we did Hawaii average. You guys are spot on. We've got, you can see the results right there. But when we look at the Hawaii average, a semi-private nursing home room, you're looking at $124,000, almost $125,000 a year. And that's for Oahu. When we look at the neighbor islands, it's even higher than that. So long-term care costs, if you are paying private pay, is quite an expensive option. Okay, next question, please. This is going to focus on home care, specifically home care, not so much home health, but home care. So if you had to pay the entire cost yourself, how much is a 4-hour visit, home visit from an aide with help with things like bathing and dressing and etc. So this is based on the Hawaii average. What do you think? We got $10 an hour, $25 an hour, or $34.50 an hour.
Everyone's still voting. I'll give another 5 seconds. Okay.
Okay, well, this was a trick one. The average actually is $25 an hour when we look in Hawaii. So about that $25 an hour for a home health, for a home care aide to come into the home. There are organizations that are higher. And actually, believe it or not, there are organizations that do provide service for $10 an hour. I'm not sure if you'd want those folks to come in because you're not sure how good things can get and how well they're vetted and the service that they provide. But the average is right around $25 an hour for a home aide to come into the home and help with what we call activities of daily living. Okay, next question. So the final question is, this is surrounded around assisted living. So how much would an assisted living unit or apartment cost if you're paying the entire cost yourself? And again, this is based on the Hawaii average. Take a guess.
Another 5 seconds. Okay.
All right, you guys got it, $54,000 a year. The average cost right now of an assisted living, to live in an assisted living community, is about $4,500 a month. That's the average. So 54,000 a year is correct. Okay, so you guys are pretty well versed in costs, and hopefully I'll be able to add a little bit more to your arsenal as you go out and look for what options are available for Kupuna. So the focus for today is really just to provide you an overview of different types of options and programs that are available in Hawaii, specifically on Oahu, but in general in Hawaii. And then also to provide you just some invaluable information for anyone that's looking for themselves or looking for a family member, either now or into the future. And then finally, just to be able to answer some questions that you may have, and hopefully I'll be able to answer those. So let's take a look at what seniors want. When we look at what folks want, they really want a wide variety of things, and it depends on where they are in their life. They want comfort and peace of mind. They want very high standards of care. They want affordability, especially with baby boomers coming into the market. Affordability is very important. Having that financial security and having quality and value in what they do. Independence, socialization is extremely important. And we definitely saw that during the last 2.5 years with the pandemic, is that socialization was lacking. And so being able to have that opportunity to get out with people, have people come and visit you, is extremely important. And we see that it's good for not only your mental wellness, but also your physical wellness as well. Experiences, adventures, nostalgia, having individual recognition, being appreciated. That intellectual stimulation is key, and being able to self-express and have fulfillment with that. And then finally, what we're seeing is just having purpose and choice is very important, as well as, again, the baby boomers that are coming into the market, we're seeing that they want to be involved. They want to have purpose. They want to be refueled. They want to be refired, and they want to be able to make a difference in the world. It's not just about, I become a senior, I'm an older adult, and I'm just put over here. No, they want to be active members of society and making contributions. So that's what we really see is what seniors want. So let's take a look at 2 different areas. So we're going to focus on community-based programs, and then we're going to look at retirement communities. So the first is community-based programs. And here's a scenario. And this might be a familiar scenario to some of you. So my mother has a friend who is 84 years old and insists on living the rest of her life in the house that she's lived in for the past 50 years. I know you can't say it, but I'm just going to ask, anybody find this familiar, or does it sound familiar to anyone? I'm sure it does. So the question with that scenario is, what types of services and programs are available in the community so that I or my loved one can continue to stay at home, even if they might need some assistance? And so let's take a look at the options, the most common options that are available. So the most common are home care, home health care, and adult day services. Other options that I do want to point out that are available are adult residential care homes. And I'm sure most of you have heard of what we call arches. They're smaller care homes that will care for anywhere between 2 to 5 seniors in the home, and they are usually run by a care home operator. It's a real more home-like environment. And I want to say that there are close to 600 adult residential care homes located on Oahu. So it really does meet the need for seniors. The average cost of care homes can range anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000, all the way up to $12,000 or over. So it just depends on the care home that you select and what you're comfortable with. So adult residential care homes meets a big need within our community. Something to be careful about, though, is that care homes, they're supposed to be licensed, but there are some that are unlicensed, and you want to make sure that you or your loved one or your family member or your friend goes into a licensed care home, and they're licensed by the Hawaii State Department of Health. Otherwise, the Office of Healthcare Assurance is the branch that licensed them. Another option that I'm not going to focus too much on, but is an option for community-based programs, is our senior care foster program. And so this is where a senior would, it's much like foster care for children, but it would be a foster care for a senior. And so you can have anywhere from 1 to 2 seniors that would live with a foster care provider. And that is definitely an option for seniors. And then, like I said, families taking care of their own families is a huge need that is met by unpaid caregivers, and that is family. So let's take a look a little bit deeper about the 3 that are bulleted. So home care. When we take a look at, I guess first, what's the difference between home care and home health care? And so I've tried to lay it out pretty clearly in the bullets. When we look at home care, it is licensed now. It is a licensed industry. It's licensed again by the Department of Health, but home care includes less clinical things. It's more assistance with what we call activities of daily living. So you have options such as companion services. If your loved one just needs to have someone be with them and socialize with them. Personal care. This could be activities of daily living, grooming, bathing, dressing, ambulating. They need help with those types of things. Limited healthcare, it could be taking things like blood pressure or taking vitals. Homemaker services are also available from some agencies, and this is basically, it's not so much housekeeping, but it's just making sure that the home is, dusted, looks good. They might have to prepare some meals, services like that. Home spa services like beautician, hair is also an option for some, massage. Transportation and escort is a big area that has a lot of requests. Getting to appointments, whether it be to doctor's appointments, to outings, to going to the grocery store. And then also some agencies also provide an aide to go with the senior on the when they transport them. Pastoral care is also offered by some agencies, as well as meal delivery services. So that's home care. So a lot less clinical. When we move to the home health side, it's more clinical. And usually there's an element of therapy or an element of skilled service that's included in this, and Medicare reimbursement does play into this. With home health, usually if you have a home health period, it's usually for up to a certain period of time. So it could be up to 100 days. For therapy, it's physical therapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy that is offered by a therapist, or it could be a skilled service that needs to be offered and performed by a registered nurse. And some of those, an example of a skilled service is like insulin injections or wound care, And with wound care, it's taking care of the dressing of the wound. Medicare reimbursement does play in, but these are some of the criteria that need to be met. So the client or the senior must be homebound. It must require a physician's order. And then, as I said, there must be some type of intermittent skilled nursing service or therapy services or a service that's provided by a home health aide. The thing to remember is that for home health, it does need to be provided by a licensed agency. And home care prior, a couple years prior, there was no licensing required for home care, but we're very happy in the industry that the state has now required home care agencies to also be licensed as well. So that's just a tip to keep in mind, is that you really do, my recommendation is that you do have a licensed agency. You can always do things under the table, but with licensed agencies, you always know that there is a certain level of professionalism and training that goes into, and licensure that goes into a licensed agency. Let's take a look at the cost. And again, these are just average costs from throughout our state. When we look at home care, helping with bathing, dressing, toileting, general mobility, these are what we call activities of daily living. It's not cheap. Your average hourly rate is gonna, for a single person, gonna run you about $37 an hour, and couples rates, the average is about $56 an hour. Again, some lower and some higher. This is just the average. When we're looking at assistance with housekeeping or homemaker services, washing dishes, linen changes, vacuuming, that type of thing, about $50 an hour. And then meal delivery, if an agency provides meal delivery, the average is about $10 a meal, plus there usually is a delivery charge. But keep in mind, there's also meal delivery services from agencies like Meals on Wheels, where there is a sliding scale for how much it costs for the meal itself, and then also for it to be delivered. When we look at home health care, of course, it's going to be a little bit more, actually quite a bit more, because it is a licensed professional, whether it's a registered nurse or a licensed practical nurse or a therapist that's providing the service. So that service will range anywhere between $75 to $95 an hour and could go higher. So monthly costs varying very depending on the needs of the senior. But for home care, you're looking at a minimum probably of about $1,000 a month, but it can go up much higher. And that's what we see a lot of times with home care, is that you might have an agency come in and provide service at a certain period of time, maybe 4 to 8 hours a day. And then everything else is supplemented by family caregiving, because the cost, if you do the math, it can get pretty high if you have 24/7 home care in your home 24/7. Okay, and I think, if folks have questions, you can, we can wait until the end, or if you have something, please feel free to put in the chat, and Debbie can let me know if we have any questions. Another option that was outlined in the bullets was adult daycare and day health programs. So this, to me personally, is one of the best options that we have for home and community-based programs. Adult daycare and day health, it provides respite for families. It's a change of pace for the senior. You think about, we always think about caregiver stress. And if I'm a family member providing service, oh my gosh, I have so much stress and I got to take care of my mom or dad. Adult day is a wonderful option, but I also want to share it from a different lens, is that it can be stressful for the senior too, to be at home, knowing that they're putting a lot of pressure on their loved one that's taking care of them. So adult day provides, a 10-hour time frame where that senior can get out of the house, come down to the center and provide and experience great relationships, develop relationships with different other seniors, and just have a different change of pace. So I think it's beneficial to both sides, caregiver as well as senior. This is not just about adult babysitting. It's about having a lot of fun. It's not just a bunch of seniors sitting around on recliners doing nothing all day. The adult daycare and day health providers in our community in Hawaii do amazing work, and really recommend, if this is an option, to go down and take a look at those centers and see what they're all about, because I think you'll be impressed and pleasantly surprised. social and stimulating environment. As I said, yep, just not seniors sitting around in rocking chairs all day. And also the seniors have the opportunity to choose from a wide variety of entertainment, crafts, exercise, activities, intergenerational programs. I will say that for all of us, as we know, the pandemic has put a damper on things, but for the adult day program that we do manage, we are starting to get things back into the groove and having entertainment come back in. And I think that's the same for quite a few of the other programs that are on Oahu and within the state. So when we take a look at cost, how much does it cost for adult day? When we're looking at the daycare level, which is the first level, this is where folks are coming to just socialize. They're coming to hang out with others. They really don't need a heck of a lot of assistance. We're looking at about $93 a day. And so when we break that down for a 10-hour day, you're looking at a little over $9 an hour. Very cost-effective option for seniors, especially compared to a senior staying at home and having home services come into the home at that higher cost per hour. When we look at adult day health, this is a higher level. And so these are seniors who might need assistance with eating. They might need assistance with ambulating. They might need assistance with their medication. And so a little higher, what we call acuity level. So the cost does go up, and the average cost in programs is about $120 a day. Again, some higher, some lower. And then, looking at that cost-effective option, again, for 10 hours a day with a great professional staff there to care and hang out and support the senior, you're looking at $12 an hour. So a great cost-effective option for our kupuna. So just a few tips when researching community-based programs. Number one, ask for references always. When you go to the center, make sure that, ask them, is there a couple families, or maybe a couple clients that I could talk to about their experience with your program? Visit the center. Do not go based off of a website. Do not go based off of a telephone call. You really need to be there and go and see how the facilities are maintained. What's the feeling that you get when you walk in? Talk with the current clients, talk with the current staff. Trust your gut. When you walk in, do you get a good feeling, or is it like, what's going on here? You want to make sure that you visit. That's a very important piece. Okay, I think that is it for home and community-based programs. I think we're going to go ahead and move on to retirement communities. So here's a scenario for you. I'm thinking about change. I'm 70 years old and I'm thinking about moving out of my home into a retirement community. The questions at hand are, why would I consider moving into a retirement community? And what's the benefit? So why a retirement community? A couple of reasons why. Make choices when you're healthy instead of letting someone else make those decisions for you after you become sick. We've seen this time and time again within our organization, is that folks move in and first they say, oh my gosh, I should have done this sooner. But we also see folks that the folks who are involved in decisions you're going to make for your health and wellness and emotionally. And so to be able to make that decision when you're able to move in and enjoy it, it's easier overall for your health as a senior. So let's take a closer dive into what types of communities, what's on Oahu in particular. And these are just a few that I'm going to go into detail about. There's Hawaii Kai Retirement, which is out in Hawaii Kai. Good Samaritan Society, that's Pohainani out on the windward side. Kalakaua Gardens is a relatively new community, of course, located on Kalakaua Avenue. You've got Arcadia and 15 Craigside, as well as Kahala Nui, and then the plazas have, I believe it's 6 or 7 communities that they have throughout Oahu. So let's take a dive in. So there's 2 different types of senior communities, 2 main categories. One are called life plan communities, and then the others are called month-to-month rentals, assisted living communities, month-to-month rentals. So life plan communities, there are 3 located in Hawaii. All of them are on Oahu, and they are Kahala Nui, Arcadia, and 15 Craigside. And the thing about life plan communities, what are they? They are a full continuum of care. And with life plan communities, the one differentiating factor is that there is what's called an entrance fee. And that entrance fee is a one-time payment. And why would I do that? Why would I pay for that? Why would I pay a one-time entrance fee and then have a monthly service charge on top of that? Well, the entrance fee assures the resident lifetime care. And what that means is that if at any time while the resident is living there, if they basically run out of money, they exhaust their financial resources, they're never asked to leave. They remain in community and the community foots the cost. So at Kahala Nui, that entrance fee amount ranges. It ranges from $652,000 all the way up to over $1 million, depending on the size of apartment that you select. About Kahala Nui, that entrance fee is 90% refundable. So if at any time, if a resident passes away or they decide to move out, 90% of the entrance fee is refunded. Arcadia and 15 Craigside, they are also life plan communities with entrance fees, and their entrance fees a little bit lower than Kahala Nui's, as you can see, and there's the range. I'm not going to say it out loud, but the thing about Arcadia and 15 Craigside is that it is a non-refundable fee. So if at any time after 90 days of moving in, if the resident passes away, it is a non-refundable fee. However, if the resident decides, you know what, I don't like it, I want to move out, there is a sliding scale for up to 52 months where we earn 2% per month. So you have the opportunity to get something back if you decide to move out. But the non-refundability is if the resident moves in, passes away, after 90 days, it is a non-refundable fee. So that's the entrance fee, life care. Again, remember that if the benefit of paying this entrance fee is that at any time, if I do exhaust my financial resources, I'm never asked to leave the community. I'm cared for the remainder of my life, and the community foots the cost. So that's the one-time entrance fee. But then after that, there is a monthly service charge, and it's, you know, a monthly charge. This is the range of those monthly charges. And so those are the ranges. And let's take a look at what exactly is included in that monthly service charge. So depending on the community, you receive 1 to 3 meals prepared daily. I know Kahala Nui has a meal plan, and I believe it's 1 meal a day. And then they have options on what they can do for the other 2 meals a day or prepare them in their apartments. For Arcadia and 15 Craigside, it is 3 meals a day. All communities have 24-hour security, general maintenance and repairs to your apartment, utilities, except telephone is included, and then programs and entertainment, and a wide variety of programs and entertainment. That's a lot of people say that living at not even just the life plan communities, but living at any retirement community, it's kind of like living on a cruise ship. There's always something to do. Other things that are also, oh, Debbie?
Before we move on, somebody requested to see the monthly fee screen again.
Yep, sorry, let me go back. So the difference in fee depends on a couple of things. There's a few factors. One is the number of people that live in the apartment, so whether it's 1 or 2, and then the size of the apartment also is taken into consideration.
Thanks, Susie.
Okay, all right. Other things that are included in the monthly service charge also include health and wellness facilities. At all 3 communities, there are gyms, there are pools, some are outdoor, some are indoor heated pools, linen service, and then light housekeeping services, as well as transportation services are provided by these communities to various places, whether they be entertainment out in the community, or going to the doctor, or going to different eateries, or going to the store, whatever it may be, transportation is provided. So those are the life plan communities. I'm going to move now to retirement communities that have no entrance fee. And there are 4 that I wanted to share with you today. One is Pohainani, that's out on the windward side. Hawaii Kai Retirement, of course, in Hawaii Kai. The plazas, they have a variety of locations everywhere from Kaneohe to Moanalua to Punch Bowl to Pearl City to Mililani. And I know there's one that I'm missing. But there's another, I think there's 6. So the plaza, and also plaza, I do want to point out, has memory care as well. And then Kalakaua Gardens. So, and that's located on Kalakaua Avenue. So all of these retirement communities, it is pay as you go. There is no entrance fee. And then it's just a month-to-month payment. And these are the main services that are provided. I know I do want to point out Pohainani and Kalakaua Gardens, they do have skilled nursing facilities. So if you're a resident in Pohainani or Kalakaua Gardens and you fall and you break your hip and you need to go into rehab, you don't have to go to a separate nursing home somewhere else. Pohainani has the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Healthcare Center on campus, so that's available. And then Kalakaua Gardens also has a skilled nursing facility in their building as well. However, with Hawaii Kai Retirement and the plazas, they do not offer skilled nursing or rehab services. So if something does happen, the resident would need to go to a skilled nursing rehab facility in order to get rehabilitated. And then if they meet the criteria to come back, then they could come back to either Hawaii Kai or the plaza. But I do want to point out, Plaza has an excellent memory care program at all of its locations. And so memory care is definitely a great option that is not institutional care, not nursing home care, but specifically designed for those with Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's very much worth looking into if you're interested. So when someone moves into a community, what can they expect? So they can expect a possible guaranteed life care agreement if they go into a life plan community. They also have the opportunity to live close to others who they can develop exciting and new relationships and friendships with. And then there's also a variety of different ways to be creative and useful, and really developing and finding those interests that you might have abandoned when you were working, when you were raising a family, when you were in your career. So a lot of undiscovered talents that have the ability to come out and be found or be refound. And then just a variety of care from different types of professionals that are there to really customize your care, and they have your best interest at heart in order to meet the needs that you have. So just a few tips when researching communities. Think about the location and timing, where you want to be and where you may want to move. Talk to all of your family and friends who may be involved in your care. This is so important. Please just talk. I can't tell you the number of times that we have come into situations where communication is just not there, and it all comes down to just having a dialogue. And not everyone wants to talk about it. We get that, but it's something that, if you want to have peace of mind for yourself and for your loved ones, for your family and friends, talk about these options so that you don't have to talk about them later in life and you're ready to go if things happen or you should decide to move into a community or need care. Talk to residents and staff and family of the residents in each community that you're interested in. Ask for referrals. Go, pandemic, a lot of places, a lot of these communities are allowing tours again. Go in and visit because you need to get the feeling. On paper, they all look the same, but when you go to each of them, they each have different personalities and different cultures. So definitely do your homework and make sure you go in person. And if you can, ask for a meal. And if they don't have their dining room available, be bold and say, can I have a takeout meal? Can I have a meal to go? Because food is extremely important, and you want to make sure that the community you're going to live in or the agency that's going to provide you service has good food, because food is key. Visit each community more than once. We can be nice to you the first time you come in. We'll roll out the red carpet and be, hey, wonderful, we know you're coming. Next time, don't tell us you're coming. See how we treat you then. It's very important. You want to make sure that the community you choose, the agency you choose, is consistent in how they treat their clients and their residents. And then, as I said, the food piece. If you can, eat a meal, but because we pivot with the pandemic. So if we can't eat in the dining room or in one of the eating venues at the community, be bold and ask them if you can get a meal to go. I think it would be worth it. Okay. Last thing I wanted to cover is just to share with you. So there are a couple of organizations, both government agencies as well as private, which are great health navigators. It's really hard to get on the internet and find out all of this information. And why do that when there are organizations and providers that will help you through this? So a few that we endorse and we recommend and think they're great are CareSift for seniors. CareSift is an organization that if you're like, hey, I need help, contact them and they will walk you through the process of finding out what you or your loved one needs, and then finding the appropriate venue for that, or the appropriate provider or community. The Elderly Affairs Division through the City and County of Honolulu, each county in our state has an Aging and Disability Resource Center called the ADRC. This is a great navigation tool for you. If you have questions on what's out there, give the city and county a call. And I printed it out and I have a picture of it there. I don't know if you can see me or what, but the Senior Information and Assistance Handbook is a great resource that is put out by the Elderly Affairs Division every couple years. It's a handbook that's a Bible for a lot of people. It tells you what services are out there, telephone numbers to contact, people to contact. I highly recommend if you just Google it, or I'll give you my contact information at the end. We'd be happy to send you a copy, but it's a great handbook. And then another navigator that we like and we've worked with before is Ho'okele, and they are on Maui as well as Oahu, and they have a different variety of service lines, but they are tip top for if you need help navigating senior living, senior resources, senior providers. Reach out to them. They're a great provider and a great navigator. So with that, Debbie, that's the presentation. I'll open it up for question and answer. I hope this was helpful for everyone.
Thanks, Sue. That was great. We do have a few questions that came through. Let's see. Are there certain insurances that will cover costs for home care?
Yep, each one, and I'm sorry to, great question. The answer I'm going to give you is not great because each one's different. So the recommendation is that for long-term care insurance, yes, they do cover home care, but it's going to be dependent on the policy and what the policy covers. So my recommendation is to, if you have an existing policy, check on that. If you're looking into getting a policy, to make sure whichever insurance company, John Hancock, whatever it may be, to make sure that it's outlined on what services are provided.
Will you provide a booklet PDF that has all these figures on costs? Too much to remember and not convenient to take notes and listen at the same time. Also, could you say something about how other countries differ on how they handle these issues?
Sure. So a handbook, probably not a handbook, but if Debbie, if you can give your information to Debbie, you can share this PowerPoint with anyone you want, and hopefully that'll give you.
I can give this PowerPoint after to all attendees. So
okay. So that in terms of other countries, they all handle them differently. I think the United States is unique in a way because of our wonderful capitalist society and wanting to put forth services. But when you look at a country like Japan, or you look at other Asian countries, a lot of times for Japan there is a lot of positivity, right? There's a lot of appreciation for older adults. And so it's about families taking care of families. Also, too, there's universal health care within those countries. And so um, it's not so it's not so much of a rat race to find out what are the services provided. There are a lot more. I think the government also fuels more money and puts more money into senior services. Um, Scandinavian countries are also different. Again, universal healthcare is there. So there's a lot more emphasis, and I think even governmental money that's put towards programs for seniors. So I think, you know, this is only my personal opinion. I think we have a lot to learn from other countries as we move forward and continue to provide seniors great services into the future. So I don't have a real specific answer for you. I'm sorry about that, but I know that each one handles it differently. And I think just in general, the US can probably take a lot of good practices from other countries in the fact of how they view and respect their seniors.
Let's see. Do all of the retirement communities have wait lists? What is the minimum age to be considered for residency?
So for each one's different. For Arcadia and 15 Craigside, our minimum age is 62. Some go as low as 55. So I would suggest you reach out to each one to see if they have a minimum age. What was the other part of that question?
Do they have wait lists?
Oh, wait lists. So yeah, some of them do, some of them don't. It depends. You know, I had referenced Kahalanui's 500-person wait list. I know that that's real, but a wait list is a wait list. You know, you could have 500 people on a wait list and 500 people are waiting and they're not ready to move in. So it just depends. You know, for Arcadia and 15 Craigside, we have wait lists for specific apartments. For the retirement communities that are month-to-month rentals and don't require an entrance fee, they may have wait lists. I'm not sure right now and don't want to speak for them, but I would just recommend you give them a call if you are interested.
Did you research One Kalakaua? I'm assuming they're asking for information on One Kalakaua or
yeah. So I didn't include One Kalakaua because they are in a universe all their own. So One Kalakaua, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a condo. It's located at the top of Kalakaua Avenue, and it is not. It's not like you pay a life care agreement. You don't pay an entrance fee that assures you guaranteed lifetime care. You buy real estate. So you're buying an apartment that you own yourself, and then you have mortgage payments. And then there is also an assisted living component at One Kalakaua that assisted living services can be offered to you in your apartment. Also at One Kalakaua, on their second floor, they have a skilled nursing facility. It's a standalone skilled nursing facility that is not affiliated with One Kalakaua. It's managed by a mainland company called Life Care Services, and they have 32 beds. But I would say about half of the residents who reside at Haleolekino, which is the skilled nursing facility on the second floor, are actually residents or former residents of One Kalakaua. So 1K it's an assisted living condominium, and it's one of a kind in Hawaii.
Yeah. Arcadia has an at-home program. What are the benefits if you don't drive?
Oh, sure. So, and I didn't cover that one, and I apologize. So Arcadia has what's called Arcadia at Home, and it is a life plan community without walls, which means that you pay a smaller entrance fee that ranges, I think it's between 69,000 to 99,000, depending if you're a couple or a single. And that assures you guaranteed lifetime care. And then you have a monthly charge of about, I think it's $600 to $900, depending if you're a couple or a single, which gets you services during the month. And then you also have access to come into either 15 Craigside or Arcadia to take advantage of the programs, the wellness features, the meals. You can come in and be in the communities as well. Now, transportation, if you don't have transportation to get places, the best thing I recommend is, if you're interested, it's talking with our member services manager, because we do have the option to possibly provide transportation to different areas in different places. So yeah, to me, it's case by case. So if you're interested, we can definitely see if the transportation piece would be to your liking, depending on what you're looking for.